Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. This is the lecture for the class of the BS4 and M.Sc final under the course title is Political Geography. So dear student, today we will discuss about the topic of centrifugal and centripetal forces. Centripetal forces that promote national unity and solidarity. The ultimate centripetal force is the nation's, its reason for being. Every state must have a reason to exist, defending a cultural or ideology, standing up to a common enemy. Special status in the world. So Richard Harshon, a leading political geographer, he described centripetal forces as things that bind or hold a nation together and promote national unity. Like, for example, strong leadership, external threat, education, ideology, fixum, communism or democracy, then the movement or circulation. So you can see in this slide the Castro's Cuba. It is a celebration of Fidel Castro's 18th birthday. This strong, charismatic leader has ruled Cuba since 1959. So again, these few pictures are showing the Cuban economy has been hampered by the American trade embargo and the collapse of the Soviet Union, which ended economic assistance. So you can see the picture in the right hand, the people who are waiting for the buses at their stop. Then here are some examples of the centripetal forces. So number one is the nationalism is the primary source of group identity in the modern state. It is the idea that a person derives a significant part of his identity from a sense of belonging to a nation. Then states try to create alliance to keep country stable, want their populace to accept the ideology, adhere to laws, participate in its operation. Then the icons, flags, national sports teams, holidays. Okay. Then the centripetal forces here. The second example is the unifying institutions like schools, the armed forces, and state churches. Then religion can be a unifying choosive force like Buddhism in Thailand, Judaism in Israel. Then organization and administration of the government, transportation and communication, a perceived threat to a group's sense of identity. So now the centrifugal forces that disrupt internal order and further the destruction of a country. Like, for example, ethnic conflicts, competing claims among ethnic groups, then religion, poorly run government, and or transportation system. A dissident minority seeking autonomy. So devolution is what? Again, the devolution transfer of power from the state central government to separate political subdivisions within its territory. So the centrifugal forces are things that divide or tear a state apart. It is also called devolutionary forces. So here are some examples of centrifugal forces, like for example, ethnic or cultural differences. No doubt we have seen many examples around the world and ethnic or cultural differences. Then the religious differences you know well about. Then the linguistic diversity, economic disparity, movement or circulation, then physical, geographical differences. So what is devolution? It is a movement of power from the central government to regional governments within the state. So what causes devolutionary movements? So these are the three causes. Number one is the ethno-cultural forces. Second is economic forces. Then third is spatial forces. So let's see ethnocultural devolutionary movements. So most of the world's 200 states have multicultural populations like Spain, Basque and Catalonia in 1979. They signed autonomy some agreements, have their own parliaments, languages, have official states, control over education, power of taxation. But Basque separatists were not satisfied, continued bombing and terror attacks. The pictures are showing the some bombing and terror attacks. So the forces of devolution on the basis of the cultural forces, Quebec and party. Quebec is in Canada. Belgium, where is the Dutch in north, Walloons in French in south. Then the Czechoslovakia split in Jan 1993 in the Velvet divorce. Then Sudan, Muslim North and Christian South. Then Sri Lanka, Tamils and a Hindu minority fight for independence from the Sinhalese, a Buddhist majority. Then the forces of devolution on the basis of economic forces. Catalonians in Spain cite reasons for economic independence: 6% of territory, yet have 25% of exports and 40% of industrial exports. Then Italy, Mezzogiorno. This is the region of the south in Italy which is the poor. Sardinia feels neglected, and there is a growing disparity between the industrial north and agriculture south. Italy has moved to a federal system due to pressure by the north. Then the economic, again devolutionary movements, Catalonia in Spain, Barcelona is the center of banking and commerce in Spain, and the region is much wealthier than rest of Spain. Then the forces of devaluation, which is the spatial forces. Spatial factors like remote frontiers, isolated villages, rugged topography, or repeated historic inventions contribute to devaluation. Many islands such as Corsica, Sardinia, Taiwan, Singapore, Zanzibar in the Philippines and Rico have demanded independence. Then Hawaii, indigenous population demand autonomy. Puerto Rico's small but vocal independence movement. Then the Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia. Then the spatial devolutionary movement, Honolulu in Hawaii, a history part from the United States and a desire to live apart in order to keep traditions alive. Then the size and shape, which is influence on the basis of the centripetal and centrifugal forces, can influence the visibility of a state. The size may encourage unity or division. The shape may also encourage unity or division. Thus, either size or shape have the potential to generate centrifugal or centripetal forces. So, how centrifugal forces and centripetal forces according to the size, too big or too small. So, just right. Shape too much like shattered glass or too much like Swiss cheese, just the right shape. Then the large size, small size. Here are the some advantages and disadvantages. Large population, more talent. Large army, more natural resources. economic self-sufficiency. Then disadvantage of the large size is difficult to unify population, more spread out, more culturally diverse, transportation difficult, everyone pays attention. Then the small size has an advantage which is the easier to unify, population is closer together, less culturally diverse, transportation easy, no one pays attention. Then disadvantage, small population, less talent, small defense force, vulnerable to attack, fewer resources, and economic vulnerability. Thank you, dear students. So this was a topic about the centripetal and centrifugal forces. So your questions are always welcome.